Trusting God is hardest when clarity is missing, when you cannot see the outcome, the next step, the progress, or even the point of what you are doing anymore. Today, I want to tell you the story of a woman whose experience captures this so vividly that it almost feels like a parable. Her name was Florence Chadwick. Florence was a world-class open water swimmer. She trained for years to do things most people would never attempt. But on the day that made her famous, it was not her strength that mattered. It was something much simpler and far more relatable. She began a 26-mile swim from the coast of California to Catalina Island. The water was freezing, the currents were strong, sharks had to be driven away with the rifles from the escort boats, but none of this defeated her. What defeated her was the fog. A thick, heavy wall of gray settled over her until she could not see the shore, the boats beside her, or even her own arms moving in front of her. She kept swimming stroke after stroke for 15 hours. Her mother was in the boat telling her she could make it, but Florence could not see anything. She finally asked to be pulled out. When she climbed into the boat, she discovered she had been less than a mile from the shore. She had not quit because of exhaustion. She had been completely capable of going on. She had not been failing. The fog lied to her. And so many of us know exactly what that moment feels like. We all have our own version of fog. Seasons when you say, I can't see where this is going. Times when you feel like you are trying, praying, pushing forward, but nothing looks any closer. Nothing feels any clearer. You do not know if you are 2 miles from breakthrough or 2 months. You do not know if you are following God correctly or wandering in circles. The fog is powerful because it makes distance feel bigger than it is. It makes progress feel invisible. It makes the next step feel pointless. And it can convince even a strong, steady, resilient woman that she is failing when she is actually closer than she knows. Florence said afterward, I think if I could have seen the shore, I would have made it. That is not weakness. That is honesty. Because it's not the hard things that break us. It's the lack of vision in the hard things. When you cannot see results, when you cannot see change, when you cannot see where this is heading. God knows this. This is why Scripture so often tells us to hold on. It is not just the spiritual idea, it is the survival skill for the soul. Faith is trusting that what you cannot see is still real. Faith is trusting that progress is happening even when it is hidden. Faith is trusting that God is working even when the outcome looks motionless. And faith is trusting that the shore exists even when you cannot see it. After that experience, Florence tried to swim again. The conditions were just as cold, the distance was just as long, the challenge was just as real. But this time the fog was gone. She could see the shore. She finished the swim in record time. Here is what is so important about that moment. She did not get stronger between the two attempts. She did not train harder. She did not develop new skills. She simply had vision. And sometimes that is when God gives us not a different circumstance, not an easier journey, not a shorter distance, but a glimpse of the shore. A reminder that you are not as far as you feel. A whisper that says, keep going. You're closer than you think. Your breakthrough may be 1 mile away. Your healing may be closer than it looks. Your clarity may be forming behind the scenes. The fog can lie. Your feelings can lie. But God never lies. what He began in you, He will complete. So here is my encouragement for you today. If you are in a season where the fog is thick, do not judge your progress by what you can see. Do not assume distance where there might be closeness. And do not let the silence convince you that nothing is happening. God is not limited by fog. He can guide you through anything you cannot see. Your job is not to know the whole ending. Your job is to keep swimming, one prayer at a time, one act of faith at a time, one small step toward the woman you are becoming. The fog may be lying to you, but God is not. If you want another inspirational story to strengthen your courage, watch the story of Mary Seltzer and the way she trusted God when the next step was unclear. Her life will remind you that God does His best work in places we cannot see yet.